Here is the 1998 Generation Next annual featuring the excellent men's students facing one of those evil Draculas. Decibel's face restored at the cost of a soul. You don't need me to tell you, but this cover and this story makes reference to Uncanny Excellent Men Annual 6, a comic which you can easily estimate my exceptionally low opinion of. Really, I didn't need to tell you about that issue because we have one of those outright excellent recap sections that not only fills you in perfectly with everything you need to know, but it also even shows the cover it is referencing and quickly explains that story. Most important, however, is that the list of characters begins with Emma Frosty's, and that is who I believe we should always start with. She is barely even in this issue. I'm honestly not sure when this annual takes place in Generation Next chronology. I place it just before the Jason Fabergé run, but that is purely because I don't have and avoid the preceding Barry Amner run. The writer of this did a few Generation Next bits and bobs. I want to talk about him in another video though, one where I am less focused on the story of the issue. We have a very moody tale here, very slow paced and methodical. Decibel, one of the students at the Excellent Men's School, is being plagued by night summons by a Dracula. Draculaism promises a remedy to all of his problems. His muty affliction, his desire to be normal looking, and most importantly, his unrequited love for his classmate, Ush. I will explain Decibel right now. I don't think I have before. Decibel is one of the main characters in Generation Next. He was introduced in the first issue of the series. He was created by Sheriff Lobo and Crispin Alo. Decibel is a powerful psionic, but that power manifests in a horrific display of energy erupting from his chest, which destroyed much of his jaw and upper body. Like many unfortunate muties, he was sucking face with his fly honey when it happened, and she was left disfigured and traumatized. And so was he, obviously. In Generation Next, I don't know if I'd say he is the main character, because all the kids have their share of spotlight, but I definitely think he was maybe the breakout star, or the ensemble dark horse. Absolutely the character that the majority would think of when they hear Generation Next. Decibel is a 90s remix of some familiar muty themes and ideas. We've definitely got a certain amount of rouge in Decibel's makeup. Pun there. Rouge, makeup. He wears a scarf to conceal his damage and his powers, and to try and appear normal. Here we have Julie Lee. She overhears Decibel having his Dracula visions one night. But what else did we have out that month? My God, it is a shit show. Really reinforces and provides clear evidence for how comics went bad. Our big thing is issue 1 of Jason Bourne's reboot of Amazing Spider-Man. That big horrible mess that was coming out. We follow that up with Avengers Forever 2 and Black Panther 3. It's not that these are average or below average. It's that they are all fucking pure dog shit. Avengers Forever isn't our only Kurt Busey. We also have Iron Man 12, and then the 1998 annual for Iron Man and Captain America. 3 Kurt Busey comics. You cannot find a better reason for why people would stop reading comics than that. And all 3 of them are fucking co-writers, Royce Sternum, on all 3 of them. We have Generation Next 47, which is the final Barry Amner issue. That helps us with our placement of this annual. The only halfway decent comics listed here are Spider-Woman issue 4 and Excellent Force issue 86. And those are the only 2 of the bunch I have. You ask me, this is damning towards Marvel. They had 2 passable, maybe 3. I've not read Alpha Strike. They had 3 readable comics, and the rest are utter dreck. It wasn't a slow process. It didn't slowly become bad. It became overwhelmingly bad. They stopped being fun. They stopped being exciting. All the comics just became personal playgrounds for vain writers like Kurt Busey. Why is Muty X, which is some of the most colossally stupid shite around, why is it that Muty X stands out as among the least offensive comics Marvel are offering here? Julie Lee, she asks Decibel if everything is alright, but he's acting a bit off. Here is our only appearance of Emma Frosty's in this comic. We only see her from behind. She has 1 line of dialogue. Children, please. That is why I give this my lowest review ever. I give it 7 thumbs up and don't recommend it. We continue setting up the Decibel is acting weird thing. Look at the state of him. Oh, I was wrong. Emma Frosty's has another line of dialogue over here at the bottom of this page. This is a brilliant comic. There is some bondage ideas with Decibel. They've never really explored it, but in terms of design there is always a BDSM thing going on. He is wrapping himself in stuff. He's often wearing leathers. As you know me, I am a big fan of the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. So I'm okay with Decibel too. Over here we have Ush. She has been taking some time away from the school. And unless I'm mistaken, that is also how we begin the brilliant Jason Fabergé run, her returning to the school after an absence. That too might help with the placement or make it more complicated, because she does return here and reunite with Decibel, which we explicitly say they have not done in that run. Honestly, it's a shame that the Barry Amner run that comes before is tremendously bad, because now I have to single out a run rather than tell you to read a series. Ush and Decibel, they are Generation Next's very own Ross and Rachel, but maybe more annoying than Ross and Rachel. They are completely oblivious that they both fancy each other, even though most of their stories make it painfully clear that their feelings are reciprocated by the other. The teenagers, they go to a screening of Nosferatu, the original one, and this is Squealy's main bit too. He has to tell them to be quiet, and they argue that it's okay to talk because it's a silent film. Squealy is the other main adult teacher character in Generation Next. He is a splash page I love by Wallace Gromit of Squealy and Emma Frosty's. We have a running gag in this with the Charlie Brown gang trick-or-treating. I can't really talk of that. Over here, Charlie Brown and Peanuts actually never really had the same stature as it does in America. I think it was renamed Snoopy over here. That is how unhallowed Peanuts is in Britain. It was possibly renamed Snoopy. Decibel meets another Dracula in the loo. The Peanuts gang, I don't know, it might land more with you folks in America. But they do factor into the plot a tiny bit. And this is really clever, actually. They trick-or-treat and Julie Lee answers the door and tells them to come in. But she doesn't realise there was a Dracula in mist form with them. And she unintentionally invited that in. So now the Dracula can enter the Excellent Men's School and have free reign. This is obviously heavily tied to that ad, Excellent Men Annual. But the best thing is, you don't have to read that. I can show the classical Excellent Men reprint cover of it here. I'm a sucker for them new covers. What this has over that original story is that this is actually about the characters. This is a story about the Generation Next characters. We have a story about Decibel and his angst and his susceptibility to a Dracula's promise. Decibel is potentially a very powerful mutie, and that is why the Dracula is courting him and trying to get at him by targeting Ush. Here we see the Dracula trying to bite Ush's neck, but she keeps changing into different materials. Ush's power is she can shed her skin, and underneath it will be metal or wood or whatever substance she has shifted into. Kind of blown the ending there by mentioning she can turn to wood. We have the Excellent Men storming the Dracula's castle to free Ush. We're still unsure if Decibel is going to submit and become a Dracula or not. We get a short glimpse of him being handsome and his body mended. But in the end, Ush transforms into wood and she attempts to stake the Dracula in the hearth. She misses, but the Dracula flees, and it ends with the sequel bit that Decibel was actually bitten by the Dracula. But will anything further come to pass? No, nothing further. Not mentioned ever again. Back cover here. I got through this quite fast, and I don't think I did that great a job of covering everything here. It's a good story. and I'll use the excuse of not wanting to spoil it for having not discussed too much beyond the surface. I like this. I don't like the story that it is referencing, and I don't like the other comics that Marvel had out at the time, but I like this. I'll give it 7 thumbs up if Emma Frosty's was in it more.